Comedy's in a weird place right now. Everybody's got all these comedy questions, you know. What do you think of Dave Chappelle? You're like, I don't know, I like him. Oh, so you're transphobic? What? Can't I just like a guy and not be transphobic? You know? Why does it be all or nothing now, you know? Nuance is the new N-word. Everything's just so political now. Everything's so politicized. What side are you on? Like, I don't know. You both seem fucking annoying. Can't I be a little this, a little that? No, you gotta pick one. Well, we don't do that with bisexuals. Isn't that weird? We only have 2 political parties, all these major issues, 2 parties. That's it. We got 13 HBOs. 2 political parties. And it doesn't even seem like the political people, like the government, they don't even give a shit about us, you know? This feels like the right and the left are our parents and they're divorced. And instead of trying to raise us well, they just want us to hate the other one. You know? Right? Yeah, your mom's a little liberal, your dad's a Republican, you know, they're trying to get you to live with them. You know? You're like, come on, Dad, Mom gives me free money. He's like, well, she also tried to abort you. You're like, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll live with you.
Mark Norman on The Adam Carolla Show.
Mark Norman is in studio. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. That was brutal. Nothing worse than hearing your own act. Yikes.
Yeah, but then with a little time, you'll go back and appreciate it, just like old photos that you... It's about the same. You know, you can't look at photos of yourself from 3 years ago, but you can look at them from 14 years ago. Like, there's a thing where you go... You always hate your material that's 5 years old, but then when you get back out 15 years from it, you go, oh, it was pretty funny. And you'll do that. You go, I wasn't bad looking back in the day. Like that's kind of how the mind works. I don't know why we're wired to hate the stuff that's closest to us now.
Same thing with fashion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That no fat chick shirt. We'll look great in 10 years.
That's time.
Give it another 10.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's weird that there is a fashion... I mean, I feel that, I don't know, I guess I feel a fashion about same like cupcakes, you know what I mean? Like we have them, they've been around. I remember them from parties when I was a kid. We had a cupcake, it wasn't broken, everyone liked it. And then we're like, what if we come out with these miniature sized cupcakes?
Right.
Like, well, yeah, but that's not as good as the regular. Well, then we'll come out with a jumbo sized one. We have to use a fucking knife and fork and look super anal retentive. The guy uses a fork on a cupcake and it's like, fashion, you look at men's fashion, it's like suit, 3-button, 2-button, wide lapel, short lapel. We'll go back to the skinny tie. Then this is such a fucking ruse. They're not inventing anything. They're just going back. You look at guys in the 20s, the 30s, the 50s. It's all the same suit.
It is interesting, especially men's fashion, especially suits. You look back at a movie from the 20s, it's like, it hasn't changed that much. I mean, slight variation.
Maybe an extra pleat on each side. That's about it.
A pleat, a cuff, but does that make you... fucking, I don't know, some inventors that make you Edison because you're like, I think we should cuff it up at the bottom. And then also, it was cuffed. That was just 18 years before. You just came back to it.
Right. Look at that Nazi haircut the guys do now with the side shave.
Right.
10 years ago, you'd been like, what are you doing, you psycho? Where's the swastika? And now it's hip.
Every kid in all of the first grade yearbook, they all have that haircut.
Oh, there you go.
I've long bemoaned the bald man in movies. Back in the day, he was a buffoon, or he was evil, or he was some sort of corrupt moron.
Right.
And nowadays, it's the fucking Rock and Jason Statham is the biggest ass kickers in the world.
Yeah, Bruce Willis, I think, saved you on that one.
That's right. You turn the corner.
Are you guys?
I'm not talking about me.
Do you guys feel when I see the 10-year-old with a lot of time into his hair, that kid bothers the fuck out of me. Like that you will be an adult one day and I will hate you. Right now I can't put hands on you.
You shouldn't say that, Adam. You shouldn't say that.
I say it. I don't do it. I don't put hands on him, but like one day we're going to scrap when I'm in my 60s.
I feel you.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, like the guy, I'm sort of mad at their parents.
Yep.
Like there's a couple of those kids floating around when my son was 10, the buzz, then the long blonde thing. It's like
the super cool
gel.
clothes.
You're not supposed to pre-puberty. What the fuck?
You should be wearing all dinosaur hoodies and absolutely agree with you.
That kid's being created. He probably wouldn't be that kid on his own.
That kid doesn't give two shits about his haircut.
There's a kind of weird Mexican gangbanger kid with the version of that sort of Vato hairdo too. It's like, I don't know. Do you have to push your fucking son into this life.
Into
you
this
know,
aesthetic?
he's 7. You know,
A kid is supposed
Blood
to
in,
hate
blood out.
getting a haircut.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare when I
Yes,
was
of course.
8 till 17. It was like,
Getting
supercuts.
sprayed with that water.
Ah.
No, get out
Right.
of here.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. It's like trying to wash a cat, getting a little boy to get a haircut. You had to sit him down. Your dad had to hold you. Brutal.
yeah, they have. I have the Jufro, so they use the shears on me. They use the buzzer
Like a
on
shear.
me.
Wow, yeah, exactly.
And they always
Like an
want.
alpaca.
They always want to know what
Number.
what number, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't work for the Wall Corporation. You figure it out. I said short on the side and longer on the top. Well, what number do you want? Let me
What
get
am I
my
paying you for?
micrometer
Start
out.
at 10, we'll go from there.
Yes.
You ever had the bad haircut where you drive away, just you suck it up in the store because you don't want to make a scene, but then you get in the car and you're like, fuck, and you want to like take it back or write a TripAdvisor or something, but you know, you just
Yes.
you deal with it. But we've all been there on that drive home where you're looking in the mirror and you almost want to cry.
Yeah.
Why are
Some
we
of us
so
more
nice?
than others.
Why are we so nice while it's happening?
Well,
We're seeing the atrocity being committed.
Same,
You don't want to
same-
make a scene.
Same
Yeah.
reason when the server, says, "How was everything?" and it really wasn't a very good meal,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Oh, great.
great, wonderful, great, couldn't be better." Yeah,
Yeah.
check please.
Well,
Yeah.
I've also realized.
That's your time to say it sucked.
Well, maybe if you want to, Pierre of Monaco and you're paying like $140 for a haircut.
That's it?
I go to a place that ends in the word cuts or trim or
Right.
sports cuts
Starts
or
with sports,
valley
super.
cuts or something. There's the most beleaguered,
Yeah.
middle-aged, haunchy Guatemalan women in there. And it's like, they do 17 to 22 haircuts a day.
Right.
The haircuts, $14 with the coupon. Like, life has already punished her
Right.
enough.
You don't need to punch down.
She made the back of my head square instead of round, but she gets punished when she returns her loveless relationship and her kid with the eating disorder.
What a
you know.
narrative.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've worked it
profiles.
out.
You know. You
I go to whatever's closest and whatever's like under $20. I just walk to the whatever sports clip place, but I haven't had like a spry, good-looking 24-year-old white chick cut my hair in 15 years.
Really?
In this town.
That's a
These are like put upon
Right.
working women.
Beleaguered.
Yes.
If Emmy's wife says we move to Neptune, I'd say I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
If she goes out of business, I am effed in the A.
Yeah, she's great.
She's the best.
yeah.
Yeah,
Except
they
for-
don't care what you say. You're getting the same haircut every time. It's now become, because there's such a language barrier with the supercuts and whatnot, it's almost like a Waffle House where you have to just point.
Point at the picture.
Yeah,
Right.
that guy.
That's what they do in North Korea. I'll take the number 4.
Yeah, I don't.
They're sanctioned haircuts that men and women can have.
Well, that Kim Jong-un is really keeping hold on that
High
flat
and
top.
tight,
It's
yeah.
adorable.
I could be wrong. I don't think other people are allowed to have that haircut. I think that's just
Oh,
for
really?
him. Yeah.
Well, tell it to Howie Long.
That's right. Howie's
Same
been
one.
sporting that butch cut for a while.
You could carry a tray on that thing. It's flatter than my ex.
The problem with Emmy's wife, who does the hair cutting, Paula, is she got in the habit of coming to my house and cutting my kids' hair,
Oh,
which is kind of a COVID thing, but I didn't like the precedent
okay.
of having the person come to your home when you're 13
Oh,
or
no.
14 and cut your hair. Like if you want to do
Little
the,
Lord Fauntleroy.
you wanna do the bowl,
Specific,
you want to do the bowl cut out on the patio.
Sure.
That's
That's on
something
you.
else.
Yeah.
That's mama's thing.
Right.
But the
high-end hairstylist doesn't make
yeah,
your
what are you
house
gonna do?
calls.
Like, oh, you wrap a hot towel around you and smoke your cigar through it?
Yeah.
Like that, 'cause
Exactly.
you're like some
I've had that.
You're right.
some Don. Yeah, but you went somewhere.
I know. Yes, I paid for it. Of course.
Those children need to go to Sherman Oaks like the rest of us.
Yes.
Right.
I concur. Yeah, I told Sonny, my son, who has so little thoughts about his own hygiene,
Oh boy.
that
good kid.
he reeks of bad cologne.
What?
Because it cover up.
Because he was told you can't wear the same stinky shirt and you have to take a shower and your head stinks and blah, blah, blah. And he gives himself a spritz of Paco Rabanne or something. And then he goes into school like he's a 6-year-old Armenian business owner.
It weaponizes the smell on the shirt. They don't realize it at that time.
Right. And also, you don't realize, I never really thought about this, but as human beings, we have a secondary sniff.
Yeah, you
walk into the bathroom, you get the first shot of lilacs, and you're like, all right, but that's not what's going on in here.
I need to dig deeper.
What's the undertone?
Your brain does a second sniff.
Yes.
Like, what
Makes sense
is
of
this here for?
It's like the double take of sniffs.
Yes.
Right. It's a second sniff. It's not conscious. It's just this guy reeks of cologne.
Right.
That's covering
what's
here for.
What lies beneath.
The second sniff gets the stinky head in the BO pit. That's it's nuance.
Right.
You can't go second sniff first.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. You have to come in and do the dominant one first. The second sniff is
the Glade.
That's the crouton on the salad. You know what I mean? Have a couple of pieces of leaf lettuce.
Why do I smell Febreze?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a hot drag queen. We go, hey, oh, wait a minute.
Wow.
I see the real truth.
Why are you so hot?
No,
Her
you're
name
right.
is Febreze.
You want to do? I'll tell you that number one place for the second sniff is inside of the Uber. You get that first sniff is like, oh, the guy's got a Playboy air freshener. Second sniff is fucking hashish. Like I just came back from Philly. First sniff is, oh, what do we got here?
Right.
Second sniff is, oh, what are we covering up? Where's the body?
Is this
Second
seat wet?
sniff. Second sniff is never the good sniff.
You're right.
No.
And you don't double up on the first sniff.
No.
It's not more lilac.
No, never.
It's never
Wish it could be.
nothing. It's the real reason the first sniff was necessary.
Yes, it goes
Amen.
from cool water to Flint water.
That's right.
Quick.
Mike and I got into a cab, a Jamaican guy maybe in Philly.
Yeah.
First sniff was good. Second sniff was this guy's got a problem with weed, like big time.
Jamaican? Come on.
And it's also, we don't really judge he's an Uber guy, he likes to wake and bake and drive us to the airport. If you smelled scotch, you would like go, what is up? Right?
good here.
This guy likes to toke out while he's
gonna hop out.
while he carts us around town at high speeds, you know?
Point.
A real first smell, second smell trap, minty breath. Well, what are you trying to cover? What are you trying to cover up?
Yeah.
Right.
What do we have here?
Ooh, good first smell, barbecue restaurant. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's actually just a pure.
No second smell. It's a pure smell.
True.
Yeah. Now, if you get to the guy
Well, we
behind the
talked about
counter
this.
and you smell the minty breath on
then
him,
you know
then he
something's
was
up.
smoking a bud out in the alley or
Right.
whatever. Second sniff, that tells the truth, everybody.
This
Yeah.
has been informative and enlightening.
This is big.
Yeah.
Now imagine if there was a weed breathalyzer. Nobody would pass that.
Nobody.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'll have a little something in the news
I was
for
about
you.
to say, is there not a weed breathalyzer?
We'll get into it in the
Okay.
news. Thank you
Seems
for
like
bringing
there
it up.
should be.
Nice tease, Mark.
it stays in your system for like a month.
And on
which
your
is
hair.
The problem.
Yeah.
So when I have that
Gotcha.
conversation with my kids about which drug to do,
Yeah. You'll
cocaine
steer
versus
them.
pot, I'll go, well, technically cocaine is a little more insidious, but if you got testing at work on Monday, you do a couple of rails Saturday,
You're good.
you'll
You're
be
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Little bloodshot. Who
You
isn't?
want to mess around with the weed, that's going to be there for a while. Second sniff.
Unemployable.
Has anything in America had more progress than weed? I mean, we talk about like minorities and women. Weed used to put you in jail. Now it's like part of the Better Business Bureau. It cures glaucoma.
Weed would drive you insane.
Yeah.
According to, reefer madness
Right.
and whatever.
Yeah.
You got kicked out of my high school. We did drug testing. If you got weed on you, I mean, it
Now,
was...
you walk in, if you're on a court, it looks like an Apple store.
Right.
They're beautiful.
These dispensaries.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just watching that show on Netflix with the bad sports and Randy Lanier, the race car driver. I mean, he was bringing weed into Florida
Yep.
in the 80s. He did 27 years for weed in prison not that long ago.
The only thing that made parallel is not the exact same timeline, but the turn from evil to good, or the longest to come, gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Gambling was, the mob ran it. You had to go to a bookie, and now it's fucking everywhere.
Do it
They're
on your phone.
advertising it on NFL games.
DraftKings, all that shit.
Yeah, I had an interesting conversation with, I did my inspirational Take a Knee podcast, and I was talking to a guy named Dave Bonson, who's a financial guy. And they're talking about finances and people and savings and literacy and all that kind of stuff. And I floated in my theory, which is the danger of, what happens when money becomes invisible. So, when I say we, I mean
good for
me.
the credit card companies.
Right.
I grew up like you better get a jar of change.
Yep, dig through it,
dump
find the
that jar of
silver.
change
Yeah,
out.
to balance our checkbook. Balance it with pluses and minuses.
Yeah, we had class when we were in elementary school how to balance your checkbook.
When I was
still around when you were or the many years after?
I think we were probably the last semester.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense,
When I was a kid, I wanted to see a matinee. I would go around the neighborhood, collect bottles with the 10-cent redemption value and get them. So very hands-on, and then cash, and then when I was growing up pre-ATMs and my parents were fucking losers, and it's like you hit them up on a Saturday for...
Even when ATMs came around.
Oh my God.
Too far.
ATMs to them were like air conditioning in cars, which is there's the year everyone else had it, and then there was 26 years later when my parents actually had it. You know what I mean?
When ATMs come around, 2004.
in 1977, there were people driving around in a Chrysler Cordoba with cold air coming out of the dash, but we were driving a VW Squareback with fumes coming out of the dash, right? So you're always on a little delayed plan with that stuff, but. They didn't have any cash, and you'd hit them up on a Saturday. Could I have $5? And be like, no, I don't have any money.
I'd like $5.
Go to the bank on Friday, and we'll put our check in. So I was talking to him about money becoming invisible. My daughter's got the phone and Apple Pay and Grubhub and the app, and the food shows up. It's got nothing to do with me working every fucking weekend or anything like that. It's just there.
There's even a pay cash option on your iPhone now. It's not, of course, dollar bills, but it's a way to exchange cash. I assume it goes through Venmo or PayPal or something, or bank account or something. But point is, even the cash, I'm making air quotes, is invisible.
Well, this is going to circle back to gambling. John, who I was speaking, Dave Bonson, who I was speaking to, said, yeah, that's how it works. You lose track and touch. And he said, that's how Las Vegas was built. That's why they use chips.
You have $25 down. That's a lot of money.
If people just sat there and kept peeling off 5s and 10s every time they busted on a blackjack hand, they'd get up and leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
But you got a stack of chips, think about it.
It's like Mickey Bucks or whatever at Disneyland, Same shit.
Yeah, so Vegas figured out real fast chips instead of cash, and it's a perfect metaphor for you just losing physical track of your money.
That's so interesting because to that point, I don't remember when they stopped passing around buckets that you take to the slot machine and the quarters start coming out.
Oh,
that now it still makes the noise, but it just gets put on your card.
A ticket.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Let me hit a spot. Mark, I should give some dates out for Mark. Got live dates coming up in New Orleans, Royal Oak. I was just out there. Atlanta, Toronto, and more. You can go to the website. Go to marknormancomedy.com for tickets. My crowd, I've found, going to the theaters that require the vax mandates, it thins the herd.
Oh, really?
The clubs doesn't make a difference.
Oh, comedy.
Playing the theaters. Sorry, playing the clubs.
Sorry.
It's like under 500 seats, or it's a comedy club, no vax mandate, no proof of vaccine, just show up. Those shows are sold out. Theaters, thin. And I realize, but some of that is my crew. Patton Oswalt probably got a full house because his crew is probably less like my crew, who's less fuck you government as I am, but I don't know about you because you're somewhere in between us.
I'm somewhere in the middle. Plus, I'm not really doing the theaters yet. So,
Royal Oak. Sorry, Royal Oak is
Comedy Castle.
Oh,
I'm a club comic.
Oh, fuck that.
You can still show up to the theaters. They let you in, right?
That's true. And have seen a few guys flashing the fake card. That's big now with the kids. That's the new fake ID. Is the fakes vax.
Yeah, I heard a story on that. You can buy them. They're probably no one can distinguish the two of them from the one.
And who's really looking? You flash the guy at Subway, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's a card."
Well, this is interesting, which is there are places like just take fake IDs from back in the day.
Sure.
A lot of people had fake IDs, and some of them, said McLovin on them or whatever. And if you're trying to get through the airport with that, they don't want you going through the airport. But if you have the Korean guy in Sun Valley who has the liquor store,
for example,
he just wants to
good.
sell another 6-pack of Mickeys.
Yeah.
So the fake ID is really in the eye of the beholder.
Right. Sure.
It's not really the quality of the ID.
No.
It's who cares
just
on the
give
other
me
side.
something to hold and look
And
at.
most of the vax mandate stuff that I've dealt with, you hold up your phone, you wave it, and the guy's like, because that they don't care.
Yeah.
If they did care, there'd probably be a backup there.
And it's all very arbitrary. Like you go to this big restaurant, I got to show the Vax card. Now I can sit down and eat. But then you go to the airport, which is bustling, and you're on a tiny cigar tube
With
plane.
people from parts unknown.
Yes, for 6 hours at a time eating Cheez-Its, and then that's
You get
that's
Cheez-Its?
fine. Yeah,
That's
well,
the high end, sure, man.
Delta Comfort.
On the other side of things, I'll be going to a bat mitzvah out of town in a couple weeks, and I had to pre-email them a copy of the front and back of my card, and we will be checked in. And it is on the East Coast at the end of November. It is outdoors.
Wow. And the-
That's not the Jews I know. The Brooklyn Jews are doing circumcision.
Oh,
with
that's true in the streets.
Yeah, they don't care. It's in an alley.
The bat mitzvah, just so people knows, when a young Jewish woman becomes a man.
That's right.
That's right.
All right, let me tell you.
Clear that up.
Let me hit Trico, and then we'll roll into some news. Over a century ago, Trico was the first to make wiper blades. They've been a step ahead of Mother Nature. Ever since, Trico engineers study your specific driving conditions and make sure you're ready for anything. Trico doesn't care if it's actually raining cats and dogs. They will get your windshield squeaky clean. Whatever the weather, Trico wipers maintain maximum windshield contact. I have 'em on my rig. Brian has it on his.
Can I just mention this? There's no better time to mention this on today of all days. My beloved Uncle John, my godfather, who we talked about many times, would demand I get these blades. He was a proud Marine. Today, of course, is Veterans Day. He would call me every Veterans Day or Marine Corps birthday, one or the other, and sing me the Marine Corps hymn over the phone. I'm in college at 7 a.m. and he's singing to me.
Wow.
So, non sequitur, but I had to mention it because we talk about it.
Well, he recommended the Tricos. No matter what your driving habits, you always find the right wiper blade for your vehicle. Trico, the future of wipers since 1917. Find a store near you. And the latest offers, visit TricoCatsandDogs.com. That is TricoCatsandDogs.com. Because this guy's got a problem with weed, like big time.
Jamaican? Come on.
And it's also, we don't really judge he's an Uber guy, he likes to wake and bake and drive us to the airport. If you smelled scotch,
Yeah.
you would go, what is up? Right?
Good here.
This guy likes to toke out
He's gonna hop out.
while he carts us around town at high
point.
speeds,
Great
know?
point.